So, Alan, do you have a sentence to share?
No, teacher. What
Okay.
page? What page we are?
Well, we were talking about the discussion questions at the bottom of page 39 and the discussion questions at the bottom of page 43. And your homework was to choose one of the questions and try to answer it with using this means that. But I know you weren't in our last class, and so it's just an optional little practice. If you don't have anything, it's okay. We can do this one on the whiteboard
Yeah, I'm
together.
sorry. I still don't know. Watch the other video for the last
Oh,
class.
okay. Okay. Then let's do this one together. Whenever we use this means that, it basically means we're giving more information about a sentence we just said, or we're giving an effect of something we just said. So look at A and B here. We're going to join these two ideas and we're going to use this means that. So the first one is climate change is affecting our oceans. The second one is hurricanes more frequent. So the first one, letter A, is kind of like the cause. And letter B is the effect. So we can use this means that to join A and B together. Does anybody want to try? You can just say the sentence. You don't need to write it.
Okay. Climate change is affecting our ocean. That means hurricanes are more frequent or frequently.
Yeah. And we're going to say this,
This
that
means
hurricanes are what?
this is that.
Okay, but you said this means that hurricanes what?
Hurricanes are more frequently or frequent.
Hurricanes are more frequent. Yeah, that's good. Or I put it like this. Climate change is affecting our oceans. This means that hurricanes are becoming more frequent. So in this case, I'm giving the effect of climate change in relation to our oceans. Yes. Okay. So that's basically how we use it. And if you listen to the audio tracks, you will hear them using the this means that to make a statement, an effect, or to give a definition of something. Okay, so why don't we check our homework next? And we need to look at page 38. I'm going to give you the answers to the video. There was a video about wind turbines. And I'll just kind of share the answers with you. Page 43. Let me find the page here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see it. Okay, can you guys read these words or is it too small?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay, so we're looking at Unit 2, page 37 and 38. So number 2 on page 37, the answers are nuclear energy, oil, coal, natural gas, wind, geothermal, and hydropower. That's number 2 on page 37. Okay, let's go to Exercise 3 on page 39. Okay, that's right here. Number 1 is true. Number 2 is false. And they wanted you to correct it. This is the same type of question that will be on your quiz coming up in 2 weeks, okay? You have to listen to something and then mark if a statement is true. And if a statement is false, you also have to write why it's false and what the correct answer is supposed to be. So number 2 is false, so we need to make it correct. We're going to say the ship made it possible to build the turbines in the middle of the ocean or in the middle of water, not London. So we're supposed to cross out London. And number 3 is true. Number 4 is false. So we need to make it a correct sentence. So we're going to type in or write, it was difficult to build the turbines in windy weather. Crossing out sunny. And number 5 is true. Okay, any questions about this one?
No.
Okay, exercise 4, page 39. These are your listening answers. Again, number 2 is 120. 3 is 175. 4, 3,000. And 5 is 500,000.
Oh,
And
you did.
go ahead.
The number 2, I heard that there are 175 turbine in London way.
175?
Yes, but 175 with number 2, and number 3 120 meter across.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm wrong, or I'm not sure.
well, I don't have the listening track with me here, but I'm going to take a look after the class and
Yeah.
just double check. And I'll send you an email.
Yeah, thank you so much, because I read the listening over 20 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Over 20 times?
Yes. Every audio or
Wow.
video, I'm always practice a lot.
Okay. Well, that's good listening practice. Okay. Yeah. So it's really important for you to know if it's correct or not. And I will listen to that audio track
Thank you.
after class. Let's see. What is that? Oh, that's the video. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good question. I'll send you an email later today and let you know.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And let's go to page 40. Page 40, number 1, exercise 1. Number 1 is B, 2 is A, 3 is B, 4 is C, 5B.
5B. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah, 5 is B.
5B. Yes.
Mhm.
I just did 5A.
Okay, environmental is more than just the weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more than just the weather. It's air, water, and land. So if there's a problem with the land, if the land is polluted, that's an environmental issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, good question. Number 6 is C, 7A, and 8 is C. Okay, we've got like 2 more activities here, okay? Exercise 2 on page 41. The topic of the lecture is growing fruits and vegetables using sunlight and seawater. And number 2, the first photo shows a man picking tomatoes in a greenhouse. The second photo shows how seawater has its salt removed so it can be used to grow fruits and vegetables. And number 3, solar power is used on this farm. And we answered those in class, so it's okay if you don't have exactly those words. Exercise 3 at the bottom, number 1, W. Number 2 is that J or Y sound that we talked about.
Yeah.
The Y sound. Number
Yeah.
3 is that J phonetic word or the Y sound. And number 4 is W.
I think number 4, J.
Okay, so you and add together.
Yeah.
You add. The
Yeah.
last sound on you sound. So when we have
Yeah.
a U sound and then we have another vowel, we'll have a linking W sound.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, turn the page. Exercise 4, page 42. Number 1, water. Number 2, in extreme climates.
We just use
Yeah.
the water, not solar energy. There's a farm energy and water. We just use the water.
Yeah. Well, there's no soil energy. Oh, you're talking, yeah, solar energy and water. So
Yeah.
water is used to make the plants grow along with solar energy.
Oh.
The only choices are water and traditional farming. And traditional farming, they don't really use, I guess, solar energy, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of a weird question, but it's just according to the lecture part. Number 2, in extreme climates. Number 3, solar power. Number 4, no pesticides. Number 5, can help solve the global food problem. Okay, and the next one, exercise 5, page 42. Number 1, only 110. Number 2 is 100. Number 3, sun. Number 4, water, or you can say seawater. Number 5 is 320. Number 6, 160. Number 7 is up to 2,700. Number 8, 10,000. And number 9, environment. Okay, and we got one more. Exercise 6. Number 1D, 2A, 3C, 4B. Okay, that was a lot of listening and watching practice that you guys did for homework. Okay, so class, we need to go to today's lesson. We're going to be looking at page 44. So turn over to page 44. Okay, so we are in chapter 2, and today we're going to cover pages 44 to 48. And then I have a quick little group activity that we can do at the end. Okay, so Lan, you can turn off your microphone. And then if you want to ask a question or answer something, then yeah, thank you. Because I can hear in the background. Okay, so page 44 at the top, you see a chart, and it has prefix, meaning, and example. Okay, so we're going to talk about prefixes, and specifically negative prefixes. But first, let me give you a definition of a prefix. A prefix is a few letters that can be added to root words to modify or create a meaning. Okay, so they are going to, because it's prefix, pre means before. So prefixes are those little letters that we add to the beginning of words. So for example, if I say misunderstood, misunderstood, miss means not. So the meaning of misunderstood is not understood. That's when we say like, oh, teacher, I misunderstood what you said. Can you please explain it? Right? So we can add the word miss to show that something is negative or not. Another example is retract. Retract means to null something or take it back. So for example, the witness decided to retract her statement after taking some time to fully process what she saw. So when you retract a statement, or you can retract an email, it means you want to take it back. You kind of want to, like you made a mistake, and you don't want that statement to be kept like as true. So you want to keep it back or take it back. That's what retract means. So or re means to do again. Now, one thing I want you to notice about prefixes, okay? Not every word can have a prefix added to it. So I can't just take any word like computer and just put miss in front of it. Oh, I miss computer. Like I don't have a computer. We can't say that. We can't add prefixes to every word, okay? Another thing about prefixes, sometimes when you take off a prefix, you're still going to have a word that can be used, and sometimes you can't. Like, for example, misunderstood. I can take off the miss, and I still have the word understood, which is a word we can use. Like, I understood the teacher, or I misunderstood the teacher. Both of those are correct sentences. But other words that have prefixes like retract, we can't just take off the RE and then we have this word that we use. Like, oh, I'm going to tract an email today. Or, you know, we don't always use words without that prefix. So it's sometimes we can take off a prefix and we still have a good word. And sometimes we take off a prefix and it's not really a word that we use, okay? So I just wanted to try to clear that up for you, because some students have questions about when we can add prefixes, when and what words we can make with prefixes. So let's look at the bottom here. It says negative prefix is one type of prefix that means not or a negative meaning. So let's take turns here. Alan, I want you to do the first one with un. So you're going to look in the box at the top. We have 6 words: advantage, experienced, regular, social, certain, and spell. And I want you to see, Alan, if you can pick one of the words in the red box and add the prefix un to it. Which one can work?
I am between two. I'm not pretty sure. The first is unadvantage or uncertain.
Uncertain?
Or, yeah, uncertain. Or unexperienced. I don't know. I think all this can be there.
Right. And it is a little confusing, isn't it? Because
Yes.
you're thinking, oh, well, we can say not advantage, not experience, not certain. But We have certain prefixes that we like to put with certain root words. And in this case, we cannot say unadvantage. There's another prefix that was going to go with advantage, okay? So with the second time, it's going to be uncertain.
Uncertain, okay.
Yeah, so let's put that one in there as the example for uncertain. And we don't change the spelling of the root word certain. We don't need to add any letters or anything except the prefix. So uncertain is one example. Okay, Lon, what about with in?
Inexperience.
That's correct. So we cannot say in advantage, in regular, in certain. In is going to go with experienced. So that will be the second example on your chart, inexperienced. I am inexperienced at speaking Vietnamese.
Yeah.
So in. Okay, let's do a couple more and then you guys can finish the rest for homework. Let's do the IR, ear.
Irregular?
Yeah.
That is correct. Irregular. So for this one, it's going to be spelled IRREGULAR. So again, we're not changing any spelling. We're just adding the prefix to the root word.
So this word has double R?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because the rule for prefixes, you cannot change any letters on the prefix and you cannot change any letters on the root word. So basically, we're just adding the prefix. We're not changing anything else about the word. So irregular. And then what about dis?
Disadvantage.
Yes, this one goes with advantage. So disadvantage. Okay, good. So you guys get the idea, right? They all of these prefixes have the same meaning, but each one goes with a different word. And there's no rule like, oh, you need to add word starts with an A, like advantage. There's no rule like that. It's just the way that we have set up the language to be. So we kind of just have to remember to say not advantage, we have to use dis. We cannot use un or ear or any of those other ones. Okay?
Teacher, do you have the list for this one, like verb irregular and regular verb and irregular verb? Do you have the list from this one, something like that? The list from at in ear did like that. The list from the book.
No, I don't have a list of all of the words that go with dis or all the words that go. But that would be a good thing you can look for in a Google search. You can say Google search of common prefixes. Yeah. So good question, but no, I don't have a list.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so you guys are going to finish that page for homework. Let's go over to page 45. And let's talk about modal verbs to express future possibility. Okay, so will is one of the verbs that can show future prediction or possibility. What's another modal that you see in the box? What else can we use to show future possibility?
Want.
Hope.
Want? Well, we're looking at the orange box on the top of page 45.
Oh, may, could, might.
Yeah, there you go. May, might, and could. going to focus on these 4 modals today. Now, what is a modal? A modal is a type of auxiliary verb, which just means it's added to a base form verb in order to create some special meaning. Okay, so we always use these modals with a base form verb, like will take, may rain, might work, could see. Okay, so anytime we use a modal, we'll have another main verb that goes with it. So let's talk about these 4 modals here. Each of these shows a degree of how much the speaker feels confident about what is going to happen. So we're talking about predictions and possibility in the future, okay, when we use these. We are not talking about plans. If we have a plan for the future, then we are going to use like be going to. Like tomorrow I'm going to I'm going to go shopping, or tomorrow I'm going to check my email. You know, those are plans. Those are not predictions. So when we're using will, may, might, could, in this chapter, we want to focus on predictions about future events, things that we cannot control, but we just make guesses about. Okay, so here's some examples. And I'm using may in the first example and will in the second. Let's talk about the difference in the meaning. The first one, we may be able to reduce climate change if we stop using fossil fuels now. So when I use may, might, and could, what does that show about how confident I am about this prediction? May, might, and could, what does that mean?
Not pretty sure.
Right. Not really sure at all. It's like 50-50. There's a small possibility. Okay, look at your orange box at the top of page 45. It says use the modals may, might, and could to say you are uncertain about the future. Okay, let's look at the second example. Climate change will happen if we don't make any changes now. Okay, what does this say about how I feel, how confident I am about the future? What does will mean?
That means that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like you're almost sure.
Yeah, you have more certainty about your future prediction. Okay. Now, one person might say, well, climate change will happen, when another person might say, well, I'm not sure, it might happen. You see, so our degree of certainty can change between person and person. One person might think, no, I'm not very certain about that. They can use may, might, or could. Another person might be more certain, and they want to show that by using will. Okay, but again, remember, we're not using will to talk about our plans, even if we're very certain about it. We use be going to. Okay, so just remember that. We do not say like, I will go to the bank, I will go to work at 3, I will do my homework at, we don't use that if we're talking about plans. Okay, so that's a grammar lesson right there. Take a grammar class if you want to practice that one a little more. Okay, so we've got may with the base form verb. Okay, what is the base form verb in the first sentence that I said?
Verb?
Yeah, it's just be. Okay, it's be. And actually, when I have able to, be able to is another kind of modal. So actually, I put 2 modals together, the may and the be able to. So the main verb is really reduce, but for may is connected to the word be, and be is a base form, okay? So that's a special little thing I wanted to show. You can actually have two modals, but only certain modals can be put together like that. Be able to is one of them. Have to is another. I can say we may have to leave early, right? I will have to, take my daughter to the doctor or whatever. So,
And
yeah.
teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
What about maybe? The word, those two words together. I know that's grammar, but I'm still confused.
Well, yes, maybe when it's together as one word, that is actually an adverb. So it's not acting as a verb anymore. So if it's together, maybe we usually put that at the beginning of a sentence, and then we have a subject and verb. So I could say, maybe I will be the president one day, or maybe climate change will happen sooner than we thought. So anytime you use maybe, you always have to have a subject and a verb, a different, subject and verb in the sentence, because maybe is not a verb.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so good question. Number 2, what is the base form verb? My second sentence. Where's the base form verb? Can anybody see?
Make.
That is simple verb that the.
Okay, remember after will is form verb. So what comes after will?
After will, base form verb.
Don't.
Okay, so look in my sentence. It says climate change will happen. Happen is the base form verb. Aha, a little tricky there, huh? But it's right after will. So happen is the base form verb, and then another subject, we, and don't make. So don't make is our negative form for simple present, right? And Alan, actually, you're right. Make is also a base form. But I was talking about the base form that goes with will. Okay. Whoa, that was okay. Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to advantages and disadvantages, and then we'll do a little practice with this. So turn to page 46. This is a listening activity you're going to do for homework, and then we'll talk about it on Monday. But I'm going to get you started with this to kind of get you thinking about what you're going to listen to. So let's talk about advantages and disadvantages. If I say my car won't work in the freezing weather, is this an advantage of having a car, or is this a disadvantage of having a car?
Disadvantage.
Okay, that is correct. Disadvantage. So a disadvantage is something that's not an advantage. So if it's not an advantage, that means it's not something that's good or beneficial. Okay, so Lan, can you do the second one? It says the global warming trend will increase in the next 50 years. Am I talking about an advantage to our environment or a disadvantage?
A disadvantage. Environment. Yeah.
Good. Even though I have the word increase does not always mean something good.
Yeah.
If my weight on my body increases too much, it's not good. That's a disadvantage for me, right? So if I'm 100 pounds overweight, that's a disadvantage for me because it makes my body function, in a worse condition. So Disadvantage just means something that's negative or that we don't want or it's not beneficial. Okay, let's look at this one. Hydroponics might make our vegetables healthier in the next few years. Advantage or disadvantage?
Advantage?
Yes, this one is an advantage. Something that's good for us. So anything that's beneficial, helpful, good, or healthy is going to be an advantage. Okay, so let's do a practice. I want you guys together to take about 5 minutes, and on page 47, I want you to try to write one advantage and one disadvantage. But let's talk about the topic first. The topic is nuclear power. Nuclear power. So we've talked about solar power, and you guys watched the video about the wind turbine. So that's wind power. So what is nuclear power? Has anybody heard of that before? Anybody kind of have an idea about what nuclear power is?
No.
I just know it today.
Okay, so if we don't know, we need to go to our friend Google.
Well, I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I say that I know like there are weapons for nuclear power, and that it's something like, yeah, with the, I don't know that word in English, atoms, or
Yeah, atoms. Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Good. So you know something about it. Yeah, we talk about it when we're talking about war, nuclear war, like Iran. So, we talked about, or you hear on the news, North Korea is developing nuclear, or
Yeah.
one of the countries, I don't know, somebody's doing something out there, nuclear warfare and all this. When we talk about nuclear, I want you to think of tremendous, huge amount of power. Because what happens is there's a splitting, they split atoms. Now, atoms are never ever really supposed to be split. They're just made to stay together. And so when you actually split them, it just creates a huge amount of power. Like you've heard of the atomic bomb before. Atomic means from the atoms. So that atomic bomb just wiped out like a huge city, a huge area. That happened in Japan back in when was that? 1940s? A while ago. But anyways, it can be very destructive. But I don't want to say too much about it because I want you to think about nuclear power and what would be an advantage and what would be disadvantage. So I'm going to let you guys talk together for a minute. Try to write one advantage and one disadvantage in the chart on page 47. Okay, so go ahead, guys, talk about it.
Okay, so I think try to find an advantage. It will be a little bit challenging. What do you think, Chao?
Me too. I actually don't know very clear with the nuclear power because I don't know actually what that means. That what that meaning. And to you dictionary to find out what it.
Well, I think a disadvantage could be like the destruction it could cause. I mean, if we look at the Japan case when the states used an a nuclear bomb. It was a very, very hard destruction there. So I think um, that like the destruction it could cause, but that is a very general. I think we could specific more like um, the deaths it could cause, or I don't know.
Oh,
Well, I would say like the damage it could causes.
I think advantage from nuclear power is given because we I just see it disadvantage. I just see it did advantage like it's damage for environment for the plants like damage in the water the plant and garden fish.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
and
I just read an article.
I didn't find the advantage. Can you tell me some advantage from nuclear power?
Yeah, well, I think the nuclear power it is not just used to create uh like weapons, those things, but I think, and I just read an article that say that this is like an energy. It could be like solar energy or windy energy, oil
Oh,
energy. And the advantage of it's that it like natural resource, it doesn't cause any damage in the environment.
Mhm. Okay, I'm back, guys. I heard some of your discussion. So let's talk about what you said. Advantage, Alan, you were saying an advantage is it's like solar power, wind power. It creates energy, but it does not hurt the environment, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, and that is correct if everything goes well on the nuclear power plant. So if the power plant, like in the picture on page 47, that's a nuclear power plant, okay? If everything is going correctly and nothing is broken and nothing explodes, then
like in
it will be
Chernobyl,
very,
teacher.
it will be what?
Do you know about Chernobyl?
In Japan?
No, no, no. It was. I'm not pretty sure what country, but it was a city that had a nuclear potter. Like they were creating energy, and something explode, and
Hmm.
the city became inactive, so nobody
Right.
couldn't live there because there was a lot of radiation.
Radiation. Right. Was that in Bosnia? I've heard
Yeah, I
about.
think. Yeah,
I think there is a part of like Europe where there's so much radiation now over there that they cannot live in that part of the country. Yes, and also more recently, just a few years ago in Japan, right next to the ocean, there was explosion in the plant, and radiation was leaked into the surrounding area, and it was really, really bad damage. So if everything's working well, it's very clean energy, because actually what they use, like if you look on page 47, you see that white, like looks like smoke coming up. From what I understand, that is just water, that's steam, because they have to use water to keep the parts cool. So water is circulated around as the nuclear energy is being extracted. So they're basically using heat and water. But yeah, if something wrong happens and the thing explodes or there's a leak, then it can be very damaging to the environment. So one advantage is, most of the time for a well-working machine, there's little or no damage to the environment. And another advantage is it makes a huge amount of energy. You can produce a lot more energy more quickly than you can with wind turbines or solar or even water. It produces more energy than wind, solar, and water. Okay, so that's another advantage. A disadvantage would be, yeah, like we said, if something explodes or breaks, it can be very damaging to the environment. And then, like Lan, you were saying, it can also be destructive if used as a weapon or something like that, right? Is that what you said, Lan?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. So,
Teacher, can I ask the question? Like,
yeah.
for the advantage, I can say that nuclear power method in industrial development.
Yes, nuclear power aids or helps in industrial development. Yes, that's an advantage. Yep. Okay, so good. If you just have one or two that you listed in your chart, that's a great start. So your homework will be to listen to the lecture and see if your ideas matched with what the speaker said in the audio track. Okay, and then if you look at page 48, you guys are going to take notes as you're listening. So we're looking at reasons for or against. So page 40, when you're listening to Emma speak, I want you to listen. Is she for something or is she against? Is she for using nuclear power or is she against? So you can circle one of those and then continue the notes. So on Monday, guys, what we're going to do is talk about counter arguments. Counter arguments. And we're going to talk about signposts that are used with counter arguments. Like, for example, however, and on the other hand. So let me take you back to our homework assignment. Do you guys have any questions about what we just shared today?
No.
Okay. So let me show you our homework, and then we will be done for today. Oh, it keeps going through this. Okay. Okay, so you're going to do all the questions and the listening activities, pages 44 to 48. In your listening on audio track 2.5, I want you to listen for signposts that the speaker uses. And make a list of a few of the signposts, like on the other hand, or any others that you hear. So we're going to talk about counter arguments on Monday, and next week you guys are going to do a practice speech. And was it next week? Yeah. So next week you'll do a practice speech and prepare for your next quiz that's coming up when we finish this unit. So we're going to do a practice speech using counter arguments. So I'm kind of getting you started on that. I want you to start listening for those signposts. And the second thing on your homework list is to check your comments on your Go React video and your lab worksheet if you haven't already. All right, so I made audio and written comments on all of your lab assignments. So I encourage you to go back and check those. All right, who has questions?
Not me, teacher, I think.
All right, so we are, like I said, next week we're going to talk about preparing for a speech. And after that, we'll do a practice speech here in class. Okay, guys, that is it for today. We actually made it, even though we had that little interruption earlier with Blackboard. We managed to get through. So that's wonderful. I thought we were going to be too late here. Okay, so we are done for today, everybody.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, teacher.